Antigraviator is a very fast-paced arcade racer game from Iceberg Interactive, and if you've got that itch for a sort of sci-fi gravity-based vehicle racer, something along the lines of Wipeout, you will find that you might like Antigraviator a lot. It's rather a simplistic game with a few little things in the race that makes things a little bit different. Now there are no shortcuts and there's no multiple tracks to go along per se, but there's enough going on the track at all times to keep things interesting. So as you drive around, you'll see these little pickups. These pickups are filled up at the bottom left hand corner of your vehicle, and these are used to either give short bursts of speed, or if the prompt comes up at the bottom of your vehicle, it will help you set a trap. These traps are dependent on the track itself, and they can be anything as simple as sending a rocket towards your enemy to dropping boxes in front of the map, as well as rocks and other things. And these can very quickly change the tide of the race because you move at such a blistering pace that if you can make the car or vehicle in front of you nearly grind to a halt, you can very quickly overtake them. And this is something that the game doesn't do. It never lets up. It's consistent and it's relentless at its aggression and violence and speed. And that's sort of one of the best aspects of the game because it never lets itself down. The game runs buttery smooth. The controls are really satisfying and never felt like they got in the way. I already made a comparison to something like Wipeout. In Wipeout now you have air brakes for both the left and right hand side. Here you just have your one brake, air brake, which is what you kind of expect where it slows the vehicle down, but it gives you a much better control over the vehicle to get around tight corners. There are also other ways to get around corners in a certain way using the roll, so you can barrel roll the vehicle to the left or the right. Now this serves another purpose, as the barrel roll can also move your enemies out of the way, so you'll spend a lot of time jostling for position as you and other vehicles sort of grind up against each other and bang into one another. But if you time it just right, you can, especially off a jump, you can pretty much barrel roll them way off the track and sends them way back, and they're no longer a problem, at least for the immediate future. There is a single player campaign and it's relatively straightforward. You play in a series of races. Each one gives you a certain amount of points depending on the position you earn, and then after that, whoever has the most points at the end of the series of races wins. And it's straightforward, it works, and there's a great variety of tracks on offer. There are a lot of sci-fi based, and as well as that, also environment based tracks. So it's not just the same sci-fi cityscape. You'll be going into underground facilities, you'll be in space. There's a great selection of tracks on offer here with a great variety in terms of colors and spaces. Now there's one thing that sort of got to me about this game that was a bit annoying, and that's sort of the UI. In the race it's kind of fine, it does the job well enough, but the main menus can be kind of annoying in the sense that I use the controller, and sometimes the UI or the menu just didn't pick up the controller for navigating, so I had to kind of put the controller to the side and use the mouse to sort of navigate around, and it just wasn't always the cleanest sort of easiest ways to navigate menus. But other than that, Antigraviator is one of the biggest surprises, especially in terms of racing games I've played in a fair while. There's been a lot of nice arcade racers like rally racing games or more real life physics or vehicle based racing. Here in Antigraviator, it takes sci-fi to a whole new level. It's pretty damn fun, and I'm glad I got the chance to play it because it's sort of scratched that itch that I've been having lately for something much more sci-fi racing along the lines of, like I've said, Wipeout. And it does a really great job of also feeling like it's its own game. It was very quick after the Wipeout comparison, even though I've mentioned it a few times, that you kind of forget about it because it does enough by itself. Like even the way the boost system works in your little points down to the bottom, to the point that you have these split second like traps to sort of set for your enemies or your racers to sort of take them out, and there's just a ton of fun to have here. It's not something you're gonna put a ton of time into, and it's not going to be something you may constantly return to, but if you're in the mood for this type of racer and you're looking at this and it looks good, I can verify in saying that it plays really well as well. So if you like where it looks, I can definitely recommend it.